Hello there. So Rishi Sunak really thinks he can bribe voters with a last-minute tax cut, does he? So it looks like the Prime Minister Rishi Sunak thinks next April will be a good time for a tax cut. And the first thing that tells us is that barring some huge revelation, there will be no election until well after that. Now what Sunak is looking for is 2p off income tax, or to take it off of national insurance instead. This from the PM, who just froze the tax thresholds until 2028 to take more off of everyone as they end up in higher tax brackets after large inflation-driven wage rises. And he and Jeremy Hunt increased corporation tax from 19% to 25%. That is a 32% tax rise on business. Now he wants to give a little of our own money back to us to sweeten the election pill. Is anyone really falling for this? Now the premise is that inflation will have fallen back by next year, so it would be okay to lower taxes to incentivise work, and then they can promise to do more tax cutting as they lead into the next general election. Yes, according to the Telegraph, an unnamed government source said, "No one should be in any doubt that we will go into the election having cut taxes and promising to do more." So given the economic fallout from the Liz Truss mini-budget, where just the mention of cutting taxes attracted claims of unfunded tax cuts and sent the markets into a tizzy and ditched Liz, even before one single change had been effected. So given that, one assumes the Rishi Sunak-Jeremy Hunt tax cuts will all be fully costed and funded. And to prove that one, he'll have to rely on one of those super accurate reports from the Office for Budget Responsibility. What if they paint a different picture, which would seem favourite given their past performances? What if inflation is still sticky and the expert consensus is that it's too early for tax cuts? I've got to say, all this sounds a bit pathetically desperate from the government. And if Rishi does cut taxes, Labour will only increase them when they get in. After all, Keir Starmer's got big plans to hit the wealthy with taxes while cutting their services, and spend on the poor and the newcomers. Then change the voting laws to include just about all residents over the age of 16. We are governed by idiots and are about to be governed by clowns. The country has gone stark staring bonkers. It's gone into a swivel-eyed meltdown. And over what? A TV presenter. I got fed up with that saga after an hour. But now I gather we're into week 4 of this full-scale nonsense. And it's not what Philip Schofield got up to with whom and when that irks me, nor whether Holly Willoughby, had to look that one up by the way, whether or not her career will survive, or if ITV will shut the This Morning show down. The real story for me is how long this is dominating the news. What is being hidden here? Or what is the intended outcome of this? With one ITV insider now saying that scores are being settled. Who cares? And just last week I heard a psychologist on the news saying the whole country feels let down and lied to by this, and that we are all in mourning or some other such nonsense. Get a grip, people. Until someone says otherwise, a crime has not been committed. Is it really worthy of all these media inches and yards of TV footage? Well, there's a welcome turn-up for the books. A devout electric car user, in the form of comedian Rowan Atkinson, saying he now feels increasingly duped by them. Writing in The Guardian, the Blackadder comedian said that he bought his first hybrid car 18 years ago and his first fully electric car 9 years ago, and has enjoyed driving them even if they are a bit soulless. But then he says, "But increasingly I feel a little duped. When you start to drill into the facts, electric motoring doesn't seem to be quite the environmental panacea it is claimed to be." And he goes on to mention all the things that the rest of us, who are critical of this electric vehicle push, have been saying for years. And he points to a report by Volvo saying greenhouse gas emissions are 70% higher when building an electric car as opposed to an internal combustion engined or ICE car. And points to the increased weight of the vehicle and the use of lithium and rare earth metals that take loads of energy to get them out of the ground. He does appear to miss out the child slave labour that's used in some areas to dig it out, though. Now, he may be an accomplished comedian, but he does point out that he has a degree in electrical and electronic engineering, as well as a master's in control systems. So he does base his thoughts on science. And all in all, he says now is not the time to take the leap into electric, unless you have to. i.e., maybe you live or work in an inner city area with a ULEZ scheme. Atkinson does say that electric cars will have their day, but not just yet, and points out that there are other interesting powertrains like hydrogen coming through. And one big message he has is to keep your current car for longer, don't change it every few years. In fact, that has been the message from classic car lovers for decades. Keep an old car well maintained, and the longer you keep it, the less need there is to build another new car. And the emissions saved by not building a new car far outweigh those churned out by keeping the old jalopy running. But as we're destined to have a hardened net zero acolyte in number 10 next year, it's going to be net zero energy for all. Well, except for those at the top, that is. Richard.
Well, hello, and lovely to see you on this most beautiful of days. I hope you are well, and I wonder what you are identifying as today. What's that? Oh, a bicycle pump. Well, there's lovely. I haven't identified as one of them in over 40 years. Oh, I have a friend who now identifies as a radish. Oh, yes, anything goes these days, doesn't it, people? Anyway, according to a report in the Daily Telegraph, the government's decision to charge manufacturers and retailers for recycling in order to achieve net zero, this will increase food prices within months. The government has now come up with this wonderful net zero scheme, a new one, yeah. Well, there you have it. People are going to go hungry, hungrier, they are going hungry, and they are going to struggle in ways that people like Rishi Sunak cannot even comprehend. As people like him, they bathe in milk in their ivory towers. Yet this net zero ideology rubbish comes first in their minds, and you come second. And if you have any doubt, just look at how our police, just look at how they will arrest those that try to confront Just Stop Oil. Just ordinary members of the public will confront them, and they will arrest them. Yet give Just Stop Oil protesters carte blanche. Do what you want. Yes. Wake up, people. I don't care if you identify as left-wing or right-wing. The establishment is at war with you. The government, the political class, and the monarchy that sustains and legitimizes the system, it all wants you downtrodden, sick, and you will pay you will pay for your own demise and the poverty of others with your taxes, regardless of if it is this bunch of lies in government or not. It doesn't matter. And stop thinking it will be any better under Labour. Or do you think that Sir Keir Starmer, who let off Sir Jimmy Savile, is your best hope for change? Do you think that? Well, okay. Because look, Labour have already pledged an end to any new oil or gas developments. So you had better hope that some new form of renewable power is either waiting in the wings or has already been discovered, because solar and wind won't cut it. But you don't matter. Don't forget that. Starmer has already had his orders from Davos, as has Rishi Sunak. Directly or indirectly, it doesn't matter. This is what happens when you hand over your power and responsibility over to the state. You support net zero every time you pay your taxes to keep the wheels of the corrupt government going. Let's be honest, do you pay tax because you believe in this system, or out of fear that HMRC will come along and take you down along with everything you own? Is that why you pay your tax? Anyway, what do you lot of compliant slaves think about what has been said in this video? Leave your annoyances and your praises in the comment section below. And tomorrow, don't forget to watch something very special. Oh yes, it happens around midday. Yes, you get to see one of Jeff's early risings. Yes, you don't want to miss one of Jeff's early risings around midday. And both Jeff and I will see you tomorrow at around 7 p.m. And make sure you have subscribed and clicked the little bell, and selected the all option. Otherwise, your lives will be so much the poorer for not doing so. God bless you all. Goodbye.